April 18, 1944. At 24,000 feet above Truk Lagoon, a Japanese ace with 200-plus missions suddenly realizes a nightmare truth. His legendary Zero is no longer the hunter, but the hunted. 4 American Hellcats burst out of the sun, climbing faster, diving harder, and tearing through the sky with brutal power. This is the exact moment Saburo Sakai, Japan's most feared ace, understands that the era of the Zero has ended, and survival now depends on miracles. This is the day the skies changed forever. This is Military Voice. Subscribe for more real frontline stories. The sky is a cold metallic blue, so sharp it feels carved from steel. Lieutenant Saburo Sakai guides his Mitsubishi A6M0 into the glare of the rising sun. Even through thick flight gloves, the altitude bites into his fingers, and the deep vibration of the radial engine hums through the cockpit glass. Below him, Truk Lagoon glows in quiet turquoise peace. But up here is a place where legends live or die. A thin line of sweat curves down his temple despite the freezing air. Something is wrong. His instincts tighten like knots in his chest. Through the blur of sunlight, he spots them. Dark shapes, growing larger, moving far too fast. His heartbeat kicks inside the oxygen mask. "Fighters, incoming," he mutters. The silhouettes sharpen, broad wings, thick bodies, hulking engines. Not wildcats, not corsairs. Hellcats, the new American predator. Rumors had whispered about their power, but no rumor had prepared him for the feeling crawling up his spine now. Then it hits. A blinding burst of .50 caliber fire rips past the canopy, streaks of white-hot tracers slicing the sky. Sakai throws the Zero left, rolling with the smooth grace only a master can command. But something is off. The Hellcat doesn't fall behind. It stays with him, effortless, confident, closing like a beast that knows the kill is already in its jaws. He pulls into a climbing spiral, a move that once left American fighters choking for breath. But not today. The Hellcat rises with him, stronger, unshaken, relentless. Sakai's Zero shudders, its engine coughing in protest. For the first time in years, something unfamiliar presses into his chest. Not fear, but the first breath of realization. Then another shadow slices across his canopy. A second Hellcat dives from above. Sunlight blinds him in a deadly flash. He rolls inverted, dropping like a stone, the Zero screaming as air tears along its skin. Just above the cloud tops, he levels out, only to see another gleam of silver at his right wing, tracking him perfectly. "Impossible," he whispers.
The Zero was the king of turning duels. Light, precise, unstoppable in its dance. But this American fighter doesn't even bother to match his turns. It simply overpowers him with raw engine force. His radio erupts. "They're everywhere. We can't shake them. These new fighters, pull back." The skies, once ruled by Japan, are now filled with American thunder. Ahead, a Zero explodes in a bloom of fire, falling in a black spiral toward the ocean. No parachute, no hope. The flames reflect against Sakai's canopy, an omen. He slams the throttle forward. The Zero surges, but it feels like forcing a paper kite through a storm. More tracers tear through his left wing, punching brutal holes through fabric and metal. The whole aircraft trembles. "They shouldn't catch me in a dive," he growls. But the Hellcat behind him keeps closing, and closing, and closing. The ocean glitters below, beautiful, deadly. If he bails out now, the Pacific will swallow him before rescue ever finds him. He only has one choice: outfly the predators. He banks hard left, skimming the cloud edge, forcing the Hellcat to overshoot. But the American pilot is skilled, too skilled. The Hellcat climbs, rolls, and swings back in a clean, high yo-yo maneuver that takes Sakai's breath away. "They've learned," he mutters. Not just the aircraft, the pilots. His engine sputters, damage from earlier rounds. The cockpit fills with the sharp sting of gasoline. Dangerous, deadly. One spark and he is gone. He fakes a retreat, diving shallow. The nearest Hellcat commits. Perfect. Sakai snaps into a barrel roll reversal, a move he perfected over years. For one precious second, he is behind the Hellcat. Hope surges. But the Hellcat simply powers forward, leaving him behind with brutal ease. No enemy had ever escaped that move. Until now. His oxygen begins to fade. His vision dims at the edges. The engine coughs like a dying beast. The Hellcats regroup in a pincer, closing in with calm, terrifying precision. This is no reckless attack. This is a hunt. A final burst rips across his canopy, shattering a corner of the glass. Freezing wind slashes his face. The Zero dives, the ocean rising fast, too fast, until he pulls up at the last breath, skimming the waves so close that salt spray mists the fuselage. The Hellcats break off, unwilling to follow him that low. Silence fills the cockpit. Silence and the fading heartbeat of a wounded machine. Sakai understands now. This wasn't an unlucky fight. This wasn't a bad day. This was a truth written in gunfire. The Zero's time is over. As the smoking aircraft limps toward Truck Island, Saburo Sakai closes his eyes. Heavy as the ocean beneath him, the realization settles.